Hey everyone, welcome back to Integrative Psychonautics. Hope you're doing well out there. In today's video, I want to do a little bit of a quick off-the-cuff, person-to-person transmission from me to you about the importance of cultivating compassion and love in tandem as you grow in awareness on your personal development path or your healing path. So if that interests you, watch on. Okay, real quick caveat here before we go ahead and get into the content. I realize some of you guys out there are viewers who prefer kind of concise, tight, short little pieces of information that convey exactly what you want to know immediately. And if that's you, you probably aren't going to enjoy this video because there's a really good chance that I'm going to ramble a little bit as I kind of unpack while I'm talking during this video. So if that's you, I'd encourage you to just kind of click off, switch to another video, watch something else, come back another day when I have maybe something that's a little more tightly aligned and arranged for you. For everyone else, I just want to give you the caveat that I am a little underslept. I may ramble a little bit in this video, but I'm going to try to keep it as short and tight as possible. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into discussing awareness and compassion and how these things need to be paired in order to kind of be balanced on our path. Okay, so one of my favorite things about coaching in general, besides the obvious things of helping people change their lives, watching people have breakthrough experiences, watching people heal, having these profound moments of deep connection to truth and insight and wisdom and all of that, that I absolutely love. Another piece is that I really love these moments where sometimes there might be a new learning that happens where I kind of have an aha moment while I'm in the midst of coaching someone. And sometimes also there are these kind of old insights, these old realizations or ahas that I've kind of put on the back burner and haven't thought about in a while that suddenly become really relevant to the conversation and kind of reintroduce themselves as an insight back into the moment. And so what I'm about to share here with you is based on one of those types of events that I had with a client this week where I was working with this person, and if they're watching, they'll know who they are. Where we were talking about something, and this insight about the balance between awareness and compassion came up. And I was thinking about it today in the shower, and I was like, not only was that a great moment, and not only is that a good point, but just broadly speaking in life, this is so freaking relevant for so many of us, especially those of us that are on the psychedelic path and working with these medicines. So I thought I would just kind of bring it here for you and elucidate a little bit. So the major point I want to make here, the major distinction I want to make here is that as you grow in awareness, right? So whether that is awareness via psychedelics, awareness spiritually through spiritual practices, awareness in terms of therapeutic healing and growth and learning more about the pattern of your issue and how that has, kind of played out in your life, whether this is awareness of perhaps others and how people operate in relationships in your life or in general in the world, whether this is awareness of generally speaking dynamics and things going on out there in the world at large. It's very easy as we're becoming more aware, if we are not cultivating an equal amount of compassion and love and tolerance and patience and acceptance, to get kind of out of whack and out of balance. So the principle here that I'm trying to communicate to you is you need to be cultivating and developing and stretching your capacity for compassion along with your capacity for awareness so that they are in balance with each other. Okay. Now, this really ties in really nicely with a core Buddhist idea, which is this idea that one way of describing enlightenment is that it's like the two wings of a bird. And obviously you need both for the bird to fly. And those two wings are compassion and not awareness. What's the term? Compassion and consciousness or wisdom. Right. And I think wisdom and awareness are probably close to synonyms, if not exactly synonyms. So, when we increase in our awareness, generally speaking, that translates into wisdom or into insight. So I don't know exactly what the Buddhists mean when they say wisdom, but it's probably something like intellectual, cognitive, rational insight into reality. So if we don't have both of these in balance, essentially we can't fly. Our life can't fly. Our blossoming development of the mastery of ourselves can't fly, if you will. And I see this across the board. So this becomes very obviously true inside the context of psychedelic work, where we're talking about these kind of amplified states and really this kind of loosening of the barrier between the conscious and the unconscious that allows us to, yes, become much more aware of all kinds of things happening inside of us, whether it is, our trauma, our history, core experiences we've had, core beliefs we've had, programming that's been put into us that we didn't realize was there, cultural conditioning, whether it's becoming aware of our own patterns and dysfunctions, whether it's becoming aware of our own strengths and gifts and kind of latent, skills and abilities that we have, or character strengths that we have. All of this becomes this whole new territory of awareness that we have available and expanding and coming into our conscious mind, into our conscious awareness through the use of the psychedelics. So this is all amplified, right? Now, again, if we are not also stretching our capacity for compassion alongside that, if we are not deepening our ability to meet whatever we become aware of with kindness, with patience, with love, with curiosity, with acceptance, with compassion, then we're very likely to end up kind of overreacting, because part of awareness is going to be awareness of pain, awareness of dysfunction, awareness of, wrongness, unhealthiness, and that's often what we become aware of first, because generally it's the pain that drives us to seek answers, right? So as we become aware of these darker aspects of maybe ourself or our life or our relationships or the world around us, if we're not meeting that with love, it's very likely to kind of black pill you, or kind of make you nihilistic, or make you kind of selfish and reactive and kind of self-centered, or make you, judgmental or shamey or angry or, hopeless and kind of give up. Like, all of these are very common responses when our capacity for compassion and love is not as robust as our awareness. Right. So this becomes really self-evident, like I was saying, inside the context of psychedelic work. It's very easy to start to see how these need to be in balance. And I think this is part of why very often early on in psychedelic experiences, we get these learnings about compassion. We get these learnings about love, about oneness, about connection, about understanding, about empathy, about feeling caring towards ourselves, towards life, towards relationships, towards et cetera, right? I think this is often why that gets front loaded for a lot of people as kind of the early transmissions that we get, is because that empowers us to then go deeper inside of ourselves and look and bring awareness to the kind of dark corners that we haven't explored in ourselves before, and tolerate and handle and work with whatever we discover there, right? So I do think there's kind of an unconscious pattern or design to this. Outside of psychedelic work, though, so while this is amplified inside of psychedelic work, this is a dynamic that's just true across the board in life, right? So as we grow, whether it's just growing up as an adult and understanding life more and maturing more, whether it's, growing on a personal development path and getting better at something and actualizing a goal or, an intention of ours, whether it is, spiritual growth and becoming more spiritually aware and spiritually awakened, whether it's, again, psychological growth and, working through our traumas and our issues and healing and understanding, the way the psyche works and the way the nervous system works. And also, I was about to exclude one of the big obvious ones here, the internet, right? Just in general, in our world right now, in our society right now, we have this massive influx of awareness via the internet, right? Via all the information we take in online, articles, posts, reviews, blogs, ad nauseum. We have way more information than we have capacity to really process it. And obviously some of that information is just straight up inaccurate. Some of it is kind of partially accurate, and some of it is spot on accurate. And so we have all these different degrees of awarenesses coming into us. Now, generally speaking, societally, we're at a place in our society where the way we relate to each other and what's kind of normalized in terms of that mindset and the attitude that we use to relate isn't really an attitude of compassion and kindness and acceptance. Granted, there are people who come from, cultures that are kinder, or from family cultures, personal cultures, personal backgrounds that are kinder, or some of us just, through adversity or through just authenticity, discover that what feels right to us is a model of compassion and kindness and empathy. Some people have more just kind of a constitutional leaning that way. That's kind of our temperament more. But there's, in general, the tone of, discourse and connection, between people, especially online, but I think even just out in the everyday real world, there's a lot of tension, a lot of judgment, a lot of shame, a lot of competition, a lot of condescension, dismissiveness. There's a lot of stuff that really isn't rooted in kindness or acceptance or compassion or understanding. And so it's not necessarily something that we learn culturally to do anymore, to be compassionate and kind and generous in our mindset and open-hearted. And so a lot of us are kind of, quite frankly, underdeveloped in this area of our being. We're not as good at being loving generally, like maybe to certain people or to our pets or to our, our family. We might be loving to like certain special folks in our lives, but we're generally speaking underdeveloped at being loving in general in life as a person with whatever it is comes our way. Handling it with class, patience, acceptance, grace. And I think this is part, quite frankly, of becoming a mature person and maturing and becoming an adult, is learning how to handle life with a groundedness and a compassion and an understanding and a patience and a generosity. And some people never learn that, and some people learn that really young. But given that this is the weak spot we have culturally, and we also have this exaggeration culturally of the internet just, dumping information at us all the time, and we have all this awareness, this is a place where, generally speaking, we're kind of out of balance, right? And so that's really the message I want to bring to you, is that it doesn't matter really if you're just talking life in general or a particular path you're on, whether that's psychedelics or, therapeutic or personal development or spiritual growth. It really doesn't matter. This same dynamic of balancing compassion and awareness is there across the board. And my message to you is, if you are feeling kind of black-pilled or bitter or hopeless or, nihilistic or any of these kinds of things, quite possibly what you need to work on, what might be missing for you, is developing your capacity for compassion, your capacity for caring, your capacity for acceptance, your capacity for curiosity, your capacity for open-mindedness, your capacity for, allowing what's present and working with what's present rather than resisting it, judging it, shaming it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my message to you. Again, kind of an off-the-cuff riff here. It was just on my mind, on my heart. And I realized this was one of these kind of universals that's really worth capturing on video and sharing with all of you. So much love to you all. I have a lot more content on the way. I've got a backlog of videos I still have to edit and get up for you guys. So I've got a bunch of great content for you. And I'm about to go on a journey, which I'll be capturing on film to share more about. So I've got lots of great content for you guys in the near future. Thanks for watching. Much love to you all. I hope you have an amazing, blessed, incredible, special day. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.